Hey guys. Welcome back to my channel and to my first video of 2022. Happy New Year to you all. I hope if you celebrated you stayed safe and are doing well, and I wish this year is one of the best ones yet for us all. Moving on from the festivities. So a while ago, just after BTS had made their personal Instagram accounts, I had put up a post on my community tab asking you guys about your thoughts on BTS future. There has been a lot of speculation going on about solo work, enlistment, disbandment, and slowing down on activities overall, and I wanted to share my thoughts with you on all that since as usual, I have a lot to say and was also curious about where y'all were at. Some time ago I had put up a poll asking what you guys wanted to see as well, and it seems like most of you are interested in this topic, so here we are. In this video I'm going to discuss how I think things will go with BTS given the current situation, and based on what they themselves have hinted about their future as a group, etc. I have divided the video into sections, so if you're more interested in my opinions on certain topics more than others, feel free to skip around. Let's get right into it. I wanted to start with this because it connects to something recent the most. In 2021, BTS gave us 2 English singles. Both these singles were very different from the kind of music they had ever released before Dynamite. This of course caused a massive shitstorm on Twitter, and we had people saying things like, if you don't like their English songs you're a fake army, and if you think they're releasing English songs only because they want a Grammy you're an anti, and so on. We are not going to get into that too much. But the reason I brought it up is because whether you like it or not, and whether you want to admit it to yourself or not, the Grammys have been a focus for BTS since they first got nominated. And therefore, appealing to the Western music market has been something they had kept in mind all through last year. They have literally said it themselves. So it is what it is. I am not saying that they only released Butter and Permission to Dance because they were trying to score at the Grammys and they didn't actually care about the quality or message of the song and stuff like that. I'm not saying they threw away their originality just to fit into the mold of the American music industry, because clearly, they didn't. There were many motivations behind the release of these songs, and I have grown to greatly appreciate both Butter and Permission to Dance for what they are, because they are meaningful in their own ways. And there is so much more to the songs than the lyrics and sound that many armies, myself included for some of that, were initially not too attracted to. But there was a time when they were highly focused on the West. So getting to my actual point, in terms of their future, I see them completely not giving a shit about the Western music industry at all. I had mentioned this in my 2022 BTS and Blackpink predictions video as well, but I really think they don't give a fuck about trying to do things that might increase their chances of winning awards that were once esteemed in the West. They will literally do whatever they want, experiment with whatever genres they want, and release as many or as few English songs as they want, as frequently or scantily as they want. I see their general attitude being, if this does well in the West, cool, and if it doesn't, no one gives a fuck. I'm just doing what I want to and what makes me happy, period. I think they will strongly develop this attitude because they are beyond sick of the xenophobia and racism in the West at this point. It is abundantly clear from how done with everything they are in interviews, and who can even blame them? They are literally the biggest boy group on the entire planet right now, possibly the biggest thing in music, and they still get treated like a random somebody. They are still disrespected and not acknowledged like they deserve to be, and they have understandably had enough. So yeah, they will completely abandon intentionally doing anything to increase their likelihood of being properly acknowledged by the Western music industry. And if you ask me, that's how it should be. Period. Before I get into detail here, disclaimer. This is a sensitive topic in the fandom, so before anyone comes for me, I want to make it clear that I'm not trying to dictate what the boys should do and what is right or wrong for them to do. I know none of us international armies have a say in whether they should enlist or not, and at the end of the day it is up to the South Korean government. If anyone is allowed to have an opinion on what the boys should or should not do, it's South Korean people, and that's it. The boys themselves have said that they are ready to happily and proudly serve in the military for their country, and no matter what ends up happening, I will always fully support them. So let me make it clear that I'm not trying to say that facing enlistment one way or the other is right or wrong. All I'm doing is speculating based on how things have been so far with regard to this topic, and maybe adding in a hint of wishful thinking. Alright, now for my actual thoughts. So I mentioned this in my 2022 BTS and Blackpink predictions video already, but I think BTS will somewhat dodge enlistment. There will be a compromise and things will sort of meet in the middle. If they do end up having to serve in the military, I don't think they will have to do the traditional 2-year period. The reason I think there is a chance of this happening is because the rules have already been bent for them in terms of the latest age you're allowed to enlist. And this is still a very heavily debated topic among officials. The extensive discussion and the lack of a consensus indicate to me at least that there is a high chance of them being offered some kind of alternative. Despite that though, I'm not sure the boys will actually take it, because if they were offered an exemption or an alternative and they chose to accept it, they likely would get a lot of backlash not only from K-armies, but from the Korean general public as well. Also, throughout this entire military debate, BTS themselves have barely had any say in the matter at all. They have never said they'd rather not enlist, or that they deserve an exemption, or requested a deferral, or demanded an alternative. They've only said they are ready for their time when it comes. Period. This debate has actually landed them in the middle of a mess that they never asked to be in the first place. So it's honestly kind of hard to anticipate how things will go in terms of their actual stance in the matter. I only hope, and I do think this will happen if they do end up having to enlist, they will choose to complete their mandatory service together. They've made it clear multiple times that they'd like to be OT7 for as long as they can, and if they end up taking turns to enlist and going by age, OT7 won't be a thing for much longer than 2 years. And I honestly really don't think the boys themselves want that. I think next year, assuming things go smoothly and they are able to have a tour, I have a feeling we will get an announcement on the whole military situation soon after the tour is over. So by Jin's birthday next year, we will probably have an exact idea of what is going to happen with BTS in terms of the whole military situation. Also a slight tangent, but a lot of people said that them opening individual Instagram accounts was an indication of them not enlisting together if they end up having to, but I don't think this is the case at all. I think opening their own Instagram accounts was just another step forward in their careers. They are really becoming more and more open, and truly doing whatever the fuck they want, and Instagram is just a part of that recently acquired and rapidly developing attitude. Speaking of which, let's move on to the next section. I really don't see group activities stopping anytime soon at all. If they end up enlisting, post-enlistment, things might slow down, and they might not be feeding us with as much content as they have been for the last 8 years. They may not even tour as often or release music as often, who knows. They'll probably take things slow and do whatever they want, whenever they want, and likely even prioritize other things. But they will always remain BTS. Namjoon literally said that they'd like to be Bangtan grandpas in an interview, and at day 4 of permission to dance on stage in LA, he legit said, with tears streaming down his face, that he'll work harder to keep performing and for BTS to be this way when they're 30, 40 years old and so on. If that doesn't tell you they want to do what they're doing for the rest of their lives, I don't know what will. And these are only the 2 specific statements I can recall at the moment. Trust me, there are many more, and all 7 of them have said on multiple occasions that BTS will remain BTS forever, and they won't stop group activities for as long as it is possible. So yeah, I really don't see them fading away as a group at all. In terms of solo activities, I think they will start exploring things on their own a lot more and will probably have more solo projects than they've had in their career so far, but I feel like their priority will still be group work no matter what when it comes to music. At the end of the day, they will always return to making music as BTS. That's just how I feel. With touring and stuff, like I said before, I think they'll probably slow down post-enlistment if they end up having to go. But I don't think tours will stop completely at all. Again, like I mentioned before, Namjoon said it himself. They will slow down and focus on other things, but it won't end or stop forever. In terms of disbandment, I truly believe they won't ever disband. Because they don't want it. Whether or not their popularity decreases, which even if it does, I don't think it can ever decrease to the point where they decide to disband because of it, they will still remain a group. I know some people believe things will change after the military and they might gain a different perspective on things, and when they decide to start prioritizing other things, music will take a backseat to the point where they could end up disbanding. And I do see why people feel this way. It makes sense. Everyone changes as time goes on, and many times, what you want out of life right now or what you see yourself doing 5 years down the line right now, may change in a year or two, and maybe you'll want different things out of life then than you do now. But regardless of that, I still do not see disbandment in the picture at all. I really do believe BTS will make music for as long as they can, tour as long as they can, even though it may not be as often, and just stay together as a group as long as it is possible. This is kind of a tangent from the previous sections, but I wanted to bring it up anyway since this video is about BTS future overall. But yeah, I do see a few members pursuing things outside of music. Jin and Taehyung, especially Jin, will probably get into acting a little more when they start to take things slow with their music career, whenever that does happen. While other members may be temporarily focusing on their solo music careers, I see Taejin venturing into the acting scene. While I see the rapline having successful solo music careers, I also think Namjoon and Yoongi will probably try dabbling in their other interests that are likely not going to be public careers. I know throughout Run BTS, all the members have expressed their interest in several other careers, and some have even talked about what they would have done if they weren't doing music, but Namji just stood out to me the most. I see Namjoon potentially doing something in the fine arts world, maybe working on something that involves both art and nature. And I see Yoongi possibly getting into something architecture related maybe. I don't know lol, maybe not. But to me, Namjoon and Yoongi are the members that seem most likely to really get into something they are passionate about other than music and seriously put a lot of effort into it, like you would into something that is more than just a side hobby or something you enjoy doing in your free time. In general, I think they might do more creative projects as well. Like right now they are designing their own personal merch that has a special connection to each member, and I definitely see more such releases happening in the future, even and especially post-service if they do end up going. Alright guys, that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Did you agree with my thoughts on this topic? Do you have other things to add? Go ahead and leave a comment down below. I would really love to read what you all have to say. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I have a lot of interesting content planned for future videos and will keep engaging with you all on my community tab so I can give you what you want. Happy New Year again, and I'll see you in the next one.